Yun, tapos na ang ating road safety. So hindi ko alam kung malalagay ko din sa same video yung pangalawang topic namin, which is bike repair. Pagka kasya, di lalagay ko doon. Pag hindi, di saka na sa video. So punta na kami ngayon sa place ni Sir Enzo kasi gagamitin na yung yung venue namin. Ay, merong gathering doon. So yun, na kami. Ride out na kami. Mga oras siguro sa past 9. So dito na kami lahat. Yun. Medyo lang. Takbong chubby. Dahil mahirap. Umiinit na ang panahon. Ayun. So tara. Kanan daw, kanan. Kakalagpas lang namin sa Binondo Church. Tapos yun. Yung nagtatrangko. Respeto. Kalmado. Alright. Tapos tayo mga kasama sa likod. Yun. Sir EA. Yun. Sir EA lang malakas. Alright, meron tayong pro dito. Alright. Shout out. Ayun. Tara, next ride. Yun na uli. Lang. Ayan, shoutout!
Shoutout nga pala! Asawa ko, steady ka niya, magkala pa tayo mamaya.
Oo. Ayan o, panis. Oo. Parehas na kami, nakachinelas. Alright!
Sigurado tayo dyan.
Shoutout!
Shoutout sa misis ko na natutulog na.
Alright!
Uwi ko, gising ka na mamaya.
Yo, sakto. Sir, shoutout. Okay.
Okay lang.
Okay.
Happy birthday!
Shoutout sa asawa ko, balik po. Yan pa.
Ayun. Tingnan muna natin to. Sir, shoutout. Shoutout. Ayun, Olympics. Pang Olympics pala to, Sir Condi. Ayun. So on the way kami kay Sir Enzo para dun sa bike repair na part ng seminar. Kaso may naputulan ng kadena. So stop muna, siyempre. Ito isa, ito lahat. So, shoutout sa mga nanonood. Yan, tuloy ko na lang yung video maya.
3 days later.
Shoutout sa mahal ko, pauwi na ako. Saka sa mga nagpalista tapos din ako pumunta. Kaya dyan na kayo sa bahay nyo.
Ay, shoutout ka ulit.
Much later.
Good morning.
Morning, sir!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Alright. So we're here in KUMITA. Okay. Maraming salamat. Magandang umaga.
Oh my God!
Nakain na kayo na maliwas nyo.
Okay, but that's it. That's all I got. Sige. Thank you so much for having us here and for giving me the privilege to represent Cruz Control. Just seeing all of you, it really makes my heart really big because cycling is our passion for sure. We love it. We do it all the time just like you guys. So to be able to be with another group that thinks the way we do, that's really what it's all about. So I hope this morning what I can share with all of you is a little bit about what makes our rides fun and exciting. Also what we do to prepare for our rides and the things that we take into consideration. And then also how we take care of our bike and our equipment and things like that. So we'll kind of share all of that with you, okay? So just my background, I was born and raised in Hawaii. My two best friends growing up were both Filipino families. So I grew up with the food and the culture and all of those things. I moved to the Philippines in 2015. My fiance and I own an energy business here, so we focus on energy efficiency, renewable energy projects, and things like that. She's from Iloilo, so she's a government official. She's not here today, so otherwise she would have joined. So, you know, like all of you, cycling, you probably noticed, became very popular during COVID, right? And it was a means for us to get around because wala na public transportation. So, you know, some of us started biking because of that. Others started biking just to maybe not be bored, stuck at home, you know, get outside and all of those things. I'm in that exact same boat. Even though I started cycling when I was 5 years old and I raced BMX in the US and also mountain biking and things like that, my passion for road biking has always been probably the biggest. I really enjoy the long distance rides. I enjoy climbing. I enjoy doing time trials and track bike style riding as well. So for me, it's an all-around sport. But I got back into it just last year during COVID. I needed to break up being stuck at home like all of you, doing some exercise and things like that. And it gradually grew into something much, much bigger. Now, as Enzo mentioned, I'm with Cruz Control and under Coach Lian. And when I initially went to him, it was really just to try to make my riding more comfortable. You know, sometimes you get arm pain, hand pain, shoulder pain, things like that. And I really wanted to just see if there's something I'm missing. You know, maybe even though I know a lot about cycling, maybe I can do something a little bit different. And I went through what's called biomechanic tuning. And this is a special type of bike fitting that Coach Cruz does. And it's really to take whatever bike you have and make it work for you. Not everyone can go buy a brand new bike all the time and all of those things. But it's also to understand the biomechanics of our body and what really helps make biking more efficient, more enjoyable, and things like that. So that's what we focus on in Cruz Control a lot. So if any of you, after we're done talking, want to know more about that, please let me know. Or Enzo can make sure that you can contact me on Facebook, and then I can give you information directly, so there's no issues there. But let's first talk about the bikes. So it doesn't matter what bike you have, mountain bike, road bike, new, used, secondhand, whatever. As long as you are happy with what you have and you're out riding. That's, I'm telling you right now, half the battle, right? It's just being able to take time for yourself, get out on the bike, enjoy it for what it is, take that break away from the city or whatever, and then have that exercise and health and wellness in your life. It's been proven that vitamin D or sunshine helps to improve our immune systems, which helps us to combat COVID-19. And so a healthier us is better than anything else in battling this disease. So that's why we're very big advocates of making sure that you have your exercise, you're outside in the sunshine so that you can enjoy that. Doesn't mean that you have to get turned into driftwood or something like that, you know, and spend so much time out there, but this way at least you're helping your system and everything else, okay? So first thing that we always look at on the bike is how it's set up for you specifically. Ideally, you can see here my seat rails are basically right in the middle, right? They're not too far this way and not too far that way. If your seat has to go super far forward or super far back, then the bike is either too big or too small for you. Now, that's okay, but long term, that's something that you'll want to address and everything else, right? The other thing is the handlebars and the way they're set up. So if you can see on my bike, I have a pretty short stem. This is only 60 millimeters, right? Now, there's no rule about how long it has to be or whatever. I know a lot of us watch YouTube videos, right? So we're used to seeing the pros. And the pros look like they're stretched out and everything. But if you really look at them, they're in a very compact position, right? They're kind of like right here. So their elbows are actually almost right over their knees. Now that's on a road bike, okay? If you're riding a mountain bike, obviously you're sitting more upright and everything else. So one of the things that Enzo and I were talking about earlier was lower back pain. Now, there's good news and there's bad news. Okay, I'll give you the good news first. If you ride bikes for a long time, eventually you're going to have a sore back. Not a lot, but it's typical because you are putting some strain on your lower muscles. Normally what that comes from though is big guys like me. You know, we have this little anchor right in the front that pulls our bodies forward. And so when we're on the bicycle and we're leaning over, this weight pulls our back down. And so we start to get that curve. And over a long period of time, yes, you will get lower back pain. There's nothing you can do about it, except you have to strengthen your core muscles. So there's a little bit of off the bike exercise that you have to do. Now, I'm not saying you have to do 1,000 sit-ups a day or anything crazy. You can do flutter kicks or leg lifts, things like that, just to lower your lower core part of your stomach area. This way, when you're riding on the bike, you have a tighter core. This allows you to be more compact when you're riding, so that you don't feel like your body's being pulled forward. Rather, you're nice and straight, but your body's curved. You see my back, it's a little bit arched, and that puts me in a nice comfortable position where I can just rest on the bike. A lot of times when we see people that are talking about hand pain, right? So imagine if I have a mountain bike or if I'm here on a road bike. If all of my pressure is down on the bike like this, then of course I'm going to have sore hands, sore shoulders, and your arms become shock absorbers for everything that your bike is experiencing. So it goes right into your shoulders, neck, whatever. So ideally, when our core is stronger, we don't have to put as much pressure. My elbows are bent, so now I'm not putting all my weight down on the front of this. Most of us are going to be heavier in the top part of our body than the lower part anyway. So the more pressure we put here, the more pressure we feel in our bodies anyway. So the stronger we get our core, the less pressure we put on the front of the bike, whether I'm here or I'm here, and that keeps me enjoying the ride for much longer, okay? Now, even me, it's very common sometimes if I'm climbing or I'm doing a big downhill descent that I'm really gripping hard, you know, and so my hands get sore, or if I have to brake a lot. So, who has a road bike in the group? Anyone? Okay. If you notice, it's very, very common, right? We just sit on the hoods like this, diba? And what happens is we try to brake from here. Well, the levers aren't designed to brake from here. They're designed to brake from here. Much, much easier, diba? So, the more comfortable you get with this, the more comfortable you'll get riding like this, okay? Normally, we're not comfortable because we feel that lower back going, so we try to ride from up here. And when we ride from up here, it puts a lot more stress on our hands. Unless you have really, really big hands and you can grab a lot more of the brake from this position, okay? The other thing is, for road bikers specifically, what I like is called the 3-finger wrap. So I take my pinky, I put it under the brake levers, and I ride up here like this. My hands are on the hoods. So it's nice and comfortable, thumbs over the top, and my arms are bent. Now, I can only achieve this if my core muscles are stronger and I'm comfortable doing that. Otherwise, of course, I want to go backwards. But when we're in recovery, our hands are always like this, thumbs out on the top. This is so that when we move here, we're moving to our position. We don't have to worry about unwrapping our thumbs, right? Things like that. So on a mountain bike, same type of principle. If I'm riding here, I don't want to wrap my thumbs. If I can, I keep my thumbs on the top. It's just easier for you to keep your hands mobile. And it's also a reminder, when we put our thumbs underneath something, it's like we're gripping down. So our hands tend to lock, right? When we put our hands on the top, we're resting. So automatically our body says, okay, I'm going to engage this part, I'm going to rest my hands, and I'm not going to try to lock up myself on the bike, okay? Alright. So, that's kind of how we look at those things. As you can see, my bike is set up. We had a time trial yesterday in Tarlac. So these are called aero bars. Aero bars are great. I've seen them now, like in MOA and everything. I see it on mountain bikes. I see it on road bikes. So you can put aero bars on anything. All this does is help you get into a more aerodynamic position. So when I ride, I'm riding like this. My knuckles are out in the front. And so I'm trying to be as small as possible, which is not easy for me because I'm big. So I try to get as small as I can, and really it's just about getting into a rhythm. Now, I only do this on roads and courses where I'm not worried about a lot of traffic. I would never recommend aero bars, commuting, or anything like that. It's way too dangerous. So you only want to use it in certain places. The other thing is let's talk a little bit about pedal height and everything else. We were talking about this earlier. So what I always look for in pedal height, you hear, like Enzo was just asking me, what's the preferred distance from, you know, the ground to seat or whatever the case may be. To be honest, I don't really think about it like that. The way I think about it is I want your body to be in a good position on the bike. So what we don't want is the bottom of your foot stroke to make your legs straight. Okay, that's too much. So you want a slight bend in your leg, not too much, but you want a slight bend so that you're getting the use out of your body, right? So imagine if I go straight, then it's awkward. Now I cannot keep that normal rotation. If I'm too bent, I'm trying to pedal too fast like this. So I want a full, nice stroke every single time, okay? So when you're on your bike, feel free. It's helpful to have someone with you or do this in front of a mirror. But you get on your saddle, you put your feet down, and when you're at the bottom of your stroke, there should be a slight bend in your knee. That's just to ensure that you stay comfortable, okay? If you're going straighter or you're not going, you have too much bend, you're losing a bunch of efficiency in your pedaling stroke. So ideally, you know, when we're riding, we want to be as efficient as we can be. So that's why we want to make sure that that part's okay. Now, one of the other things that Enzo and I talked about was these things right here, right? Clipless pedals. Now, I know some of you, anyone who has clipless pedals already? No? Okay. So, my fiance refers to them as pedals of death. But she's only joking. So, this is my cycling shoe. And these are SPD SL clips, right? So I clip into my shoe here. Now, here's what I will tell you about clip-in pedals. From the very first time you start riding with them, you're already 30% more efficient. And I'll tell you why. It's actually very, very obvious. On a bike where I cannot pull up, that's 50% of the stroke. 50% of the stroke is pushing down. So if I can only push down and then ride to the top, that means I lose everything on this side of the body. Now, why is that important? As I was sharing, these muscles here, your hamstrings, your calves, your glutes, this is where you have the most power in a pedaling stroke, okay? Your quadriceps, which if any of you have ever ridden a lot, climbing and things like that, right now, you feel this burning, right? That's the lactic acid building up in your muscles. These muscles are very inefficient at getting rid of lactic acid. Your hamstrings are 5 times more efficient at getting rid of lactic acid. So what happens is, when we start getting lactic acid buildup here, because we're pushing with our toes all the time, we start to feel that burn. It gets uncomfortable, we don't like it, we want to stop, you know, all of those things. If we're using the right muscle group, then we can get rid of that lactic acid on a regular basis while we're riding, and it's not as much pressure on the body, okay? So, my recommendation to you guys is very, very simple. When you can, and when you feel comfortable, move to clip-in pedals. Now, what I say for mountain bikers, if you want to try starting out with clip-in pedals where you have a pedal on one side or platform on one side and then clip in on the other. So what you can do is you can actually clip in one foot and ride one foot unclipped. Practice the feel, get comfortable, and all of those kinds of things. Then do that for 10 kilometers and switch. Now unclip this side, clip this side in, practice. So here's the one thing that you have to remember when you're clipped in, right? You are now part of the bike, 100%. So your shoes and all of those things are really important because they become an extension of your foot. So when this is connected, you are now one with the bike all the time. So that's the most efficiency that you can get, right, when you're riding. And so that becomes really important. But you're also now one with the bike. So when you're riding, especially in traffic and things like that, you have to think ahead. You have to say, okay, I'm going to be stopping soon, so I'll unclip one foot. Then that's the foot you know you can put down. So normally, if I see, come for a second, stand up for a second. Okay, turn around and face them. Now, I just want you to stand up straight. And then I'm going to push you a little bit and you just go forward naturally. Okay, are you right-handed? Yes. Okay. So when he fell forward, he's put his right foot forward. That's his dominant leg. Okay? Every single time. Thank you. Here, I give you.
You know, I volunteer.
So when you have now everyone wants to volunteer.
Ay, volunteer. Tulak ko lang ako.
You didn't know it was gonna be that easy.
Translator.
So when you know your dominant foot, you know already which one you're probably going to click out the most. So, and it's really easy to see actually. You look at my shoes. So this is my right shoe, left shoe, right? There's more wear on my left foot than there is on my right foot because I always click out with this shoe first, okay? So it's really that simple. You have to visualize what you're doing. You know where you're going to stop, or you know where you're turning, or even if you're climbing on a hill, you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm clipped in, and that's where everyone starts to panic, right? And so I'm gonna fall over. I promise you this, okay, from my heart. You go to clip-in pedals, at some point you're going to fall over. If I told you anything else, I'd be lying to you. It just comes with the territory. But the more you do it, just like when you first started riding your bike, the more confident you get, the more comfortable you get, the less issues you have altogether, okay? So clip-in pedals are great. They help you be more efficient. They help you be one with the bike, which allows you to really enjoy it. And it allows you to do things more with your muscle groups that you cannot activate without having clip-in pedals. And that makes a big difference for everyone, all of us when we're riding. So just keep that in mind as you go forward. Okay, so let's talk about a couple things related to nutrition. Okay, so a lot of you, I'm sure on your long rides, you want to take as much water or hydration as you can. If you look at my bike, you don't even see water bottle cages. That's because I'll do 60 to 80 kilometers without any drinks. Now, the only reason I can do that is because I hydrate all the time. So in a normal day, I'll probably have anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 8 of this size amount of water. So when you're hydrating all the time in your life, first of all, it's very good for you. I see some women in our group, it's good for your skin and everything else, okay? So you want to hydrate all the time. If you're hydrating all the time, then when you go on your ride, it's less stress on your body. So what happens is when we go on these long rides, very hot, we're doing all of this physical exertion and we're not hydrated, we get the muscle cramps or we get fatigue, whatever the case may be. And it's really hard to hydrate in the moment, right? Because your body still has to process that fluid into your system and everything else. So it's very difficult. So what are my choices? I either stop the ride or I stop long enough to drink so my body can process some of that. But just understand this, the minute you start to feel that cramp or whatever, you're already too late. Now you're just trying to lessen the damage overall to your ride and everything else. So by hydrating in advance and all the time as a rule, as a cyclist, then you're going to lessen your need to have to do this. Now, why is that important? Okay. So outside of the physical benefit of being hydrated all the time, imagine we're gonna go climb in Sierra Madres, right? Beautiful, we love the mountains and everything. So I put 2 water bottles, or maybe I have a hydration pack or whatever. So now, water has weight. So now I wanna go climbing. Climbing already is hard. But now I'm gonna add water weight to my climb so that I can have something to drink because I'm not properly hydrated and I need to have it just to get through the ride. Okay, so now I have to carry all that weight with me. So did I make my ride easier or harder by having all of the fluid? 50-50, right? Yes, I want to have fluid to drink. I do get thirsty sometimes along the rides, but I also don't want to carry all of the extra weight if I don't have to. Now, if I'm going someplace and I'm not sure if there's even a place maybe I can buy 1 bottle of water or something like that, of course, you have to prepare based on the route. But the reality is if you're hydrating normally, you don't have to have water all the time with you on your ride. And that's just one of the big things. So as I shared with Enzo yesterday, I was in a time trial race yesterday in Tarlac. Our warm-up ride was 20K. The ride itself was 20K, and then the ride back to the car was another 10K. So 50K with a race, no water. And that's just normal, right? I've done as much as 88 kilometers without water and things like that, but it's just, you know, because I'm hydrating all the time, I don't have to worry about that. Now, let's take that forward into energy drinks. Okay, Gatorade tastes good, right?
Yeah.
But it's not your friend. It's better for you to be content with water We want to replenish. I'm not saying anything bad against Gatorade, okay? I love you guys. But what I am saying is Gatorade has electrolytes. It also has a lot of sugars and all of those other things, right? So when you take that Gatorade in, again, your body still has to process whatever that fluid is that you're intaking. It can be water, it can be Gatorade, whatever, or another nutritional drink. But the problem is that you don't necessarily need all of those things, right? It all goes back to how you manage your health and everything else. So I don't like to have that kind of stuff with me. I don't use any supplements when I ride at all. All I ever drink is water, or usually when we finish, we find the closest buko juice stand that we can get to, and we just have buko juice. That is nature's Gatorade, and it's better than anything you can buy in the store, 100%. Don't get the sweetened one, just get the regular one, okay? But that's the best thing you can possibly do. And so for all of the Cruz Control riders, that's something that Coach Leanne has given to us, you know, like just water, just buko juice, that's it. You don't need to have anything else. When I first started, I used to have a bottle on here for water and a bottle on here for supplement. And I told myself that I can't get through the ride without it. And then I went riding with Coach in Sierra Madres, and I was like, wow, he doesn't even have anything to drink. And every time we offer, he doesn't want anything. What is this all about? And the more and more I understood what good hydration means to the body, the more I realized I don't have to have those things either. So I got rid of all of the supplements in my life, and now it's really just the water or buko juice when the ride is over, and that's it. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you're commuting and you're taking this with you because when you get to wherever you're going to be there for a while and you want to have your water, then by all means, of course. But if you're going on a long distance ride, the more you have to carry, the harder you have to work, no matter who you are. Me, you, doesn't matter. So if we can lessen that burden, we make the ride more efficient and everything else. As I was sharing with Sir Enzo, I said, you know, if we can ride 60 kilometers before a break, and then we get some additional water or something like that, and then we ride another 30 or 40, then we have our lunch or whatever, you make for a much more enjoyable ride. You get more out of it long term. If we're having to stop every 20 or 30 kilometers unless we're climbing, it's really hard on your body. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but once I get going, I don't really want to stop, right? I just want to keep going. It's easier, you know, the laws of physics, it's easier to keep something in motion than to stop and start all the time. So for me, when I stop, all my muscles start to get like kind of heavy, I guess is a good way to say it. And then to start up again, it's like, oh, I have to get warmed up, I have to get going again, and then I finally get back to that place right where I was at when I stopped. So I don't like to stop if I don't have to. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now that's my personal preference, and as you grow in cycling, I think you'll find you probably want to end up more on that side than anything else. Now, in climbing, what I always say to everyone, whether you're a newbie, whether you're a seasoned rider, or anything in between, you just ride your ride. Don't worry about anyone else. Don't think that I'm something special because I'm wearing this shirt or I have this bike. I'm not. I just have been at it maybe a little bit longer than you guys and things like that. Ride your ride. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, when you're at home thinking about what happened today, you're thinking about what you did on your ride. And if there's something you want to improve on, then you work on that on the next ride. If there's something you want to
A few moments later.
Pwede nyo gamitin yung bakal. Pero yung rim nyo, naka-disc brake kayo, kailangan nyo gamitin yung plastic. Kasi, bakit nga ba? Kasi pag brake kasi, makikita nyo naman may lining na siya, di ba? Opo. Kaya pag ginamit mo to, pag ginanon mo, hindi na halatang lalapatan na ito. Kasi may lining na siya ng ano eh, ng brake. Pero tingnan niyo yung mountain bike niyo, di ba? Ang nakaano doon, nakalagay na rin doon yung pang disc brake. So pwede niyo siyang gamitin. Ito yung dapat yung gamitin doon. Plastic. Ito. So, kunyari diyan, tulad nito, kunyari na-flat kayo sa biyahe, di ba? Na-flat kayo sa biyahe. So tuturo ko sa inyo kung paano tanggalin yung inner tube, no? Let's say na-flat si sir. Na-flat si sir ano. Sir. Siya. Siyempre pag presta kayo kasi dalawang klase yung ano, 'di ba? Dalawang klase yung inner tube. Isang presta tsaka isang ano nga isa? Shredder. So, siyempre tatanggalin niyo muna tong ano, tatanggalin niyo muna tong lock kasi ito yung pinaka-lock niya. Yan. Tapos ito, Tapos i-check nyo rin kung ano, kung may hangin pa sa loob. Na-adjust na lang to. Yan.
Kailangan wala.
O kailangan malambot, ay walang siyang hangin. Para hindi kayo mahirapang tanggalin yung yung gulong. Yan. Gaganon nyo siya. Tapos ito, ang purpose naman nito, alam nyo na siguro na yung purpose nito, no? Yun, bali iipit mo siya sa may spokes. So, sundutin mo siya doon malapit sa may spokes mismo. Para maisingit mo siya dito.
Okay. Ganun pala yun?
Alam nyo na ito Alam nyo na ito eh.
Kala ko pang hook sa tinga yan eh.
Ayan.
Anong purpose niya?
Kala ko pang hook sa tinga.
Ito kasi hindi ginagamit yan eh.
Hindi, yung siguro yun, sabihin, hindi ginamit yung
Yung
iba.
mabilisan, hindi na ginagamit yung ganyang ginakalawit.
Hindi. Hindi, isang kailangan nyo rin kasi ito eh. Sige. Kasi yan, yung isa naman, pasok nyo dito. Wait lang. Nakikita ba?
Yes, sir.
Press nyo siya ng gano'n, no? Gano'n siya. Kasi pag ganyan lang, matigas yan. Hindi nyo agad masusundot yan. Kailangan, i-press nyo siya ng gano'n. Tapos hanap kayo ng ganyan. Tapos pwede nyo siyang idiretso ng gano'n na. Kung kaya. Kung kaya lang ha. Pero pag hindi kaya, tanggalin mo siya. Tusok ulit sa iba. Ganyan. So pag kaya na ulit na gano'n, i-diretso, tuloy-tuloy mo na. Katulad hindi pa kaya, matigas pa. So tusok ka ulit. Ganyan. Pag medyo malambot na, ituloy-tuloy niya na. Okay? Yan. Tulad yan, matigas. Matigas pa. So ang gagawin niya talaga is
Isa-isa.
isa-isa nyo na lang. Ganyan.
Hanggang pwede na.
Hanggang pwede na, katulad yan, di ba? Nakita niya malambot na. Mas mahirap sa malambot na siya, di ba? Oh. Yan. Yan. Tapos pwede nyo siyang tanggalin. Ito. Pwede nyo tanggalin yung una yung tinusok dito. Kasi tatama na yan sa ano eh. Sa gilid. Ayan. So ayan, ano na siya? Tanggal na siya, di ba? Tanggal niya. Tapos, ang una yung gagawin, pag tinanggal yung yung inner tube, kasi hindi nyo basta-basta lang yung huhugot lang kayo ng huhugot eh. Kasi hanggat nakapasok tong pin niya, hindi nyo mahuhugot yan. Kaya kailangan, ito yung uunahin yung tanggalin. Tapos, igaganon niya siya. Tapos, pwede naman iganon, depende kung kaya yung ganon, pwede naman. Pero I recommend na iganon nyo siya, i-slide nyo siya, tapos ganon nyo. Tapos saka nyo hatakin to. Yan, bago nyo ilabas yung inner tube niya.
Ganun pala yun? Ganun pala yun?
Katiri mo na sa gitna. Para hindi kayo mahirapan. Putulin nyo na lang.
Ito kailangan may bit-bit pa tayong gano'n, stand.
Oo, to.
Pag wala kayong stand, pwede nyo naman baliktarin yung bike. Oh. Ito ang magiging yan. Tutukot na yung sa atin.
yung aero.
Pero mas prefer ko yung pahiga. Kasi pag either gasgasan yung saddle ko.
Tapos ito, yan, bahala na si Sir magkabit niyan.
Ito.
Yan magkabit. Joke lang. Ayan, so natanggalan natin Ngayon, may paraan pa tayo para kung gusto nyo, ayaw nyo ng ganito na parang mas matatagalan kayo. Pwede nyo naman tanggalin, kung naka-quick release kayo, pwede nyo naman tanggalin yung gulong. No? Kunyari, di ba, nagbomba kayo, hanap kayo ng hangin, ng may butas. Kasi kada ikot nyo yan, matigas kasi nabara lalo pag libre kayo. Bumabara to. So, ang magandang gawin nyo, tanggalin nyo na lang siya dito. Kung naka-quick release naman, mas mabilis yun. So, tatanggalin nyo siya dito. Yan. Siguro, alam nyo na pagtanggal nito, no? Alam nyo na, no? Alam nyo na.
Yan, alam mo na, yan.
Oo naman.
Tapos, sino pa po yung hindi pa nakaka-experience magtanggal nito?
Takas ka ng kamay, yan.
Hindi.
Ako. Hindi pa ako.
Seryoso?
Oo, hindi pa ako nakakatanggal yan.
Hindi pa na.
Hindi nga, sino po yung nakatry na na magtanggal ng
Papamigay niya yung Facebook account niya.
Okay, bibigay ko yung number ko.
number lang.
Hindi nga seryoso, sino na ang
Basahin
napag-train na
na
magano? Magtanggal ng ano nila, ng inner tube sa ano, sa
Hindi pa.
tire.
Ako hindi pa.
Naka-experience ka na sir na, alam mo na mag-ano.
Kanina lang.
Kanina lang.
So,
Kahapon.
Sa mga hindi pa po, sino pa po yung mga walang experience pa?
Ako wala pa.
Ikaw, sir?
Kami.
Ikaw? Okay, ngayon, sa mga wala pa, sige, lapot ka sa akin, sir. Ayan. Ngayon, ang gagawin mo, sir, paano mo siya ngayon ibabalik sa loob?
Ayun lang.
Sabihin
Okay, ayan na, tingnan niyo po guys ha. Ayan.
unahin mo to.
Mali yun ha. Mali. Mali. Okay. Mali yung ginawa niya.
Hindi pagalitan niya, pagalitan niya.
Mali yun.
Palim.
So ang proper talaga na pagbabalik na itong ano natin.
Ganun pa rin.
ang YouTube
Una pa rin
natin,
to.
Is hanapin niyo po yung may butas sa rim niyo. Kung paano ko siya tinanggal kanina, ganun din yung pagbalik niyo. Sige sir.
Kasi may hirapan kasi balik pag hindi mo ito inunin.
Oh, sige sir. Ayan, bubuhat.
Yan,
Ayun na yan. Yan.
Yan. Tapos, Opo, ops, wait lang, ikat muna natin. Mali po yun. Mali po yun.
Medyo may tama pero mali eh.
Medyo may tama pero mali. Ayun, so ang gagawin nyo, pag ipabalik nyo to, kailangan, hindi siya nakaganyan, na binabalik nyo yung inner tube kasi pwedeng mabutas. Kasi matalim kasi dito natin yung gilid yan, matalim yan. Pwedeng kakabulkit nyo lang, kakalagay nyo lang ng, ano, ng patch, tapos nag-google kayo, biglang lumiliit. Kasi minsan, kadalasan, nasusugat siya sa rim nyo kasi sa gilid.
Ano to?
Protection yan para ano, para basta protection yan sa loob.
Protection.
Oo.
Tire.
Kailangan, nakaganto siya. Ayan.
Para hindi marumihan.
Oo, nakaganto siya dapat.
Tailiner?
Oo, nakaganyan. Nakalabas na dapat. Oh, hindi siya nakaganon. Hindi siya nakaganon dapat pag binabalik nyo. Kailangan, pag nandun, ilalabas siya, gaganon siya. Ipapasok dito. Tapos, igaganon nyo siya, sir. Asan yung butas? Tama yung kanina ginawa mo, yung ginanon mo siya, tama yun.
Pero yung mali.
Oo. Tama yung ganon. Pero ang mali doon kasi, nakaganyan siya, siniksik mo na. So kailangan, pag ganyan, iangat mo to, sir. Iangat mo, tapos igaganon mo siya. Yan. Bago mo ikabit yung, ipasok yung gulong. Dito, igaganon mo na lang siya.
Pasok mo nga.
Yan.
Gaganon ko, ipasok mo.
So kailangan pala, kada rides natin, kailangan lagi kayo may dalang patch kit. Ayun, huwag nyo kakalimutan pa mag-rides kayo. Kasi napakalaking bagay na ito sa atin. Paano ito ilagay? Okay.
Ayan, bubutasan muna natin.
Wala pa kasing butas eh.
Butasan, sample.
Eh, kakagating ko.
Kunyari lang may butas, no? Kunyari may butas.
Pwede mo namang lagyan sila.
Pwede
So, subukan mo lang. Subukan mo.
Para lang makita nila kung paano.
mas maganda butasan natin.
Interior dyan, no?
Yung ay respeto daw, mas okay butasan nyo.
Ayan, kunyari, nabutas na. Natusok ng ano, ng...
Bubugang.
Ano yung mighty ban, sir? Mighty ban?
Oh,
Ayun sir, example lang mo
Sinik
yun.
ng bangus.
saan?
Ganyan, no?
May butas mo ito?
Ibutasan.
Hindi ano mo na lang, kahit na i-match mo na lang siya.
Pwede na naman i-patch.
Para alam lang nila kung paano.
Okay.
Tapos ilang minutes, kasi may minutes
May
yun
minutes kasi to. Seconds. Seconds lang pala. Pwede naman para mabilis, ihipan nyo para matuyo ka agad.
Kung paano daw mahanap yung butasan.
Kung paano, ito pa. Di ba kalimitan, nangangapa tayo kung nasaan yung butas, di ba? Anong ano? Tubig. Sa'yo, tubig. Kayo po, pag naaplatan kayo, paano yung ginagawa nyo para mahanap nyo yung...
Hangin na muna.
Ang ina nila, maraming hangin, tama yun. Ang ina nyo na maraming hangin. Tapos ikaw, Sir, yung tama yung may sir, tapos pisingin. Kasi mas sensitive kasi yung pisingin natin, mas nararamdaman kagad natin yung hangin. Ang gagawin nyo,
Isasampal sa mukha.
bubombahan niya siya ng bubombahan. Tapos kapag sobrang hangin niya, yun, igaganon niya siya sa mukha nyo. Huwag niyo ididikit kasi madumi to. Huwag na huwag niyo ididikit.
Parang delikado na. Hindi ko na masalpak. Parang
Hindi, sige ako na pangalan niya, sir. Ayan.
ako pinalaki yung butas.
Sis, ayan, tapos nakita nyo na yung butas na, nakita nyo na, kunyari.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kunyari, ito yung butas. Kunyari lang naman, baka hanapin niyo yung butas eh. Ito, kailangan, bago niyo lagyan ng na itong rubber solution, ito. Kiskisin niyo muna.
Bakit?
Para mas kumapit siya. Kasi pagka ganito lang sir, na nilagyan natin ng rubber solution, madulas. Tama si sir, tama yun, madulas. Kailangan
magaspang.
pagaspangin muna natin. Yan, pagaspangin natin ang pagaspangin. Pag magaspang na, pagramdam natin magaspang na, saka yun siya lalagyan
Hindi ba sir siya pag kunwari, ginanito mo siya, tapos matalim to eh. Pag ginanon mo, mabutas ulit.
Hindi mo siya ididiin.
soft lang,
Soft lang. Yung gagawin mo lang siya, yung tamang lang, yung ganyan.
tamang gasgas lang.
Tamang gasgas lang, hindi mo siya.
Wag mo yung diinan.
Wag niyong ididiin yun guys. Wag niyong ididiin yun ha.
Mas mahaba.
Smooth nyo lang. Ganun lang, smooth.
Tama talaga.
Yan, yung tamang lang, nakita nyo na nagagasgasan siya. Yun.
Sa Liha, ilang katumbas sa number sa Liha? Sa Liha ang bibili nila.
Hindi, wala naman wala sa number yun. Nasa yun, nasa
Basta
mo yun.
paghagod.
Oo, nasa paghagod mo yun kung paano. Kunyari, ito na, ayan na, nakaskasan natin. Pwede na natin lagyan ng rubber solution yan. Itong rubber solution talaga, minsan pag wala akong makain, sinisingot-singot ko naman ito. May rugby kasi pag
Hindi ba yung rugby?
sa mga inaantok na guys. Hindi, pero joke lang yun ha. Joke lang yun. Yan, ilalagay nyo siya kung saan yung portion na may butas siya. Pero ang paglagay na ito, hindi ganyan, tapos igaganon, hindi. Pangit yun. Ang paglagay na ito, kailangan hayaan mo siya na mag-spread. Spread natin ng ganyan, yan. Ganyan.
Sir, ibibenta yan.
Yan. Ibenta to? Magkano? Then, antayin natin siya na matuyo.
Mga ilang minute.
Ay, hindi didikit agad?
Hindi.
Di ba hindi pwede yung dyan, yung nabibiling pang sa sapato?
Ay, hindi. Wag.
Bakit?
Bawal ang shoe glue dyan.
Yung shoe glue, pangit yan.
Magpapalit na kayo ng interior, sabihin sa inyo ng bulkan na
Oo.
Kasi hindi nyo siya tatanggapin ng compress nila.
Tama. Kailangan kung ano yung kasi package naman to daw. Bumili kayo ng patch kit. May kasama ng
YouTube, DIY.
Wag niyong gagawin yun. Yung sa nakapanood sa YouTube.
May kasana ko,
Wag niyong gagawin yun. Ayan, depende naman sa minutes pero mas mapabilis natin kung iihipan natin siya.
yung shoe glue.
Iipan niyo siya para matuyo ka agad. O pwede niyo naman siya, di ba nalagay niyo siya ganyan. Pwede niyo siyang i-ganon-ganon.
Bigyan nila lang.
Yan, sir. Mamaya pagpag.
Last ko pa yun, natin didikit. Pag tuyo na yan, ay, didikit pa ba yun?
Hindi, kapag tuyo na to, dapat meron ka lang ito. Ayan. Kasi ito naman, may naman yan, madikit naman talaga siya, madikit siya, pero kailangan mo pa rin ng rubber solution.
Para mas madikit.
Para mas madikit. Tama si sir. Sir, ikaw nga dito sir. Yun. So, para mas madikit siya. Guys, nakakasunod po ba tayo?
Yes.
Sir. Okay. Anong una na kong sinabi kanina? Mali, di ba? Nawala na kayo. Tama. Diba? Ayun. Yung sabi nga nila kung paano maglagay ng patch sa butas na gulong. Ito nga yun. So, nilagay natin siya ng rubber solution. So, antayin na natin siya matuyo. Pag natuyo na yan, pwede na natin ilagay ito. Siguro pamilyar naman sa inyo to, no? Pamilyar sa inyo to.
Balat.
Pero may pandikit pa rin yun, sir, di ba?
Oo, may pandikit to pero kailangan pa rin talaga natin ng rubber solution para mas lalo siyang kumapit. Parang yung ex mo. Pero pinagpalit ka pa rin. Question, sige.
Wala doon sa may patch kit, sir. Marami kasing nalilito dyan kung alin yung surface na ilalagay mo doon.
Ito, yung ito, di ba obvious naman po, di ba? Ayun, may dikit siya, di ba? Yan, madikit yan. Pag ginawa niya madikit, ayun ang didikit niya dito, hindi yung ito yung ididikit niya dito sa...
Pero yung plastic na tatanggal din.
Dito, wag mo na tanggalin yung plastic. Ang tatanggalin mo lang dyan yung
Silver.
or yung foil na ito. Ito yung tatanggalin mo dyan. Yan. Yes, kunyari, tuyo na, no? Tuyo na ba? Tuyo ka na ba? Pwede natin siyang tanggalin. Ayan.
Magic.
Oh, diba? Magic. So may naiwan, diba? Pag may naiwan,
Gamit to. Souvenir.
Delikado pag
Tanggalin natin. Tapos pwede na natin siyang idikit. Pero pag nagdikit kayo, wag nyo hahawakin yung sa gitna kasi posibleng din na siya dumikit.
Why?
Dahil sensitive to, mas madumi yung kamay natin. Madumi ang kamay natin. May tendency na hindi na siya kakapit dito. Ayan, dikit na siya, di ba? Ayan. Pwede niya siyang i-press ng
After press.
ganyan. Or kaya pagkadikit nyo, pwede na yung ilagay sa loob. Kasi, hayaan niya, pag nahanginan na kasi to, didikit na yan sa pinaka tire.
So hindi mo na kailangan ano yung panong...
Hindi na.
Sir, di ba kailangan taganan yan, sir, pagkadikit?
Kasi
Pwede namang hindi, basta tuyo na. Pwede siyang i-ganon na lang, oh. Lamas-lamasin
So kung
niya.
sa siyang didikit pagka inanginan mo, nilagay
Oo,
mo.
yan. Kasi pag may hangin na kasi to, aangat yan, di ba? Ito, didikit na yan sa pinaka
Gilid, no?
tire natin. Kakalsin na gaganon na yan, no? Parang siya na yung mag-press. Oo, gaganon. So, nasusundan po ba natin?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Copy.
Question, ano po yung question?
Bago matuyo siya. Minimum mo ilang minutes.
1 minute, 2 minute.
Depende kasi
po,
hinihinipan.
kasi po, sa yung rubber solution po kasi, nakadepende po kasi yung sa rubber solution. Kasi may ibang rubber solution po na mabilis siyang matuyo. Meron naman pong matagal. Pero wala naman po talaga siyang specific na minutes, kung ilang minutes siya or ilang segundo siya bago matuyo. Kasi yung ibang ginagawa kasi pagkalagay, pag na-spread na nila, iniipan para matuyo, or kaya yung iba, winawas-iwas ng ganun para mabilis siyang matuyo.
So, tingnan mo na lang kung tuyo na. Saka may dikit.
Katulad na ito, di ba, madikit na.
Bilis kong natuto.
Ano pa? Question,
Konti lang yung rubber solution. Paano sir kung ubos na yung rubber solution?
kung gusto yung rubber solution.
Pumara ka ng bike eh.
Yun, tama yun. Tama.
Mag-post ka sa Facebook.
Posible ba yung kapag wala kang patch, ang dala mo yung duct tape, pwede ba dyan?
Duct tape.
Duct tape. Pwede? Pero
Kasi may nagsasabi duct tape, pwede daw.
pwede naman siya, pero hindi ko siya talagang nire-recommend. Oo, yung duct tape.
Hindi alternative.
Oo, hindi siya alternative talaga.
Pansamantala lang pala yun.
Kasi pansamantala lang yun. Mas maganda talaga na may patch fit kayo lagi.
Ano to, sir? Hindi na yan natatanggal dyan?
Hindi na.
Diyan, tatanggal to.
Hindi na.
Yung natusok mo dito, tatanggal ka pa? Tangtak dito.
Oo, tapos kunyari ayan, di ba? Di ba nabutas nga yung gulong niya, di ba? Siyempre ngayon, hahanapin nyo ngayon dito.
Sa loob, sa labas.
Sa loob.
Hanapin yung nagkabutas.
Hahanapin nyo sa loob. Kakapain nyo ng kakapain yan. Yan, kasi kadalasan kasi yung iba, nagugul sila, nabubutas yung gulo nila kahit kakabulkit lang. No? Pero hindi nila alam, hindi sila kasi aware dito sa gilid na ito eh. Yung gilid kasi na ito, tapos
Matalim.
naiipit kasi yung dito, yung inner tube. Yan, naiipit kasi siya dito sa gilid. Kaya kahit wala siyang nakakatusok, pwede siyang masira dahil naiipit. Kung baga kada race mo, pag nalulubak ka, gumagano kasi nagbabounce hanggang sa kumakaskas na yung inner tube dun sa mismong pinaka-rim niya. Ayan, so tinan nyo po guys, madikit na yan. Ayan. Ano yung tanong mo kanina, sir?
Yung kung wala kang rubber solution, sir, o naubusan. Kasi kung konti lang ang rubber solution. Tapos wala ka namang tatandaan. Oo, nasa gaya ng San Simon.
Hindi, kaya...
May alternative ba na pampalit sa rubber solution?
Yun nga, kung walang-wala na talaga, kung kaya pa naman siyang hanginan, kung yung hangin niya, o pag malit ng butas, kung kaya naman hanginan, na i-drive nyo pa, itakbo nyo pa, oo. Tapos doon kayo maghanap ng bike shop na pwede nyong...
Kung may ban kayong kanin.
Po? Damo? Yung itutusok dito sa...
Hindi. May gumawa doon. Pampalit sa inner tube.
Oo, maipasok mo siya dito. Yan. So, hangin na natin ng konti.
2 to 3 hours.
Oo, para ma-problem yung pag-upload. Para hindi siya maipit sa rim. Ayan, pag wala pala kayong mga ganito, si Sir Enzo meron yan. Wala ka ba na ito?
Maya, meron na.
Ano tawag dyan?
Maya.
Adapter to. Pin-adapter ang tawag dito ng Sir. Yan, hangin natin siya ng konti.
Pressure
Meron
to
kasi
shredder.
pang bomba na hindi na kailangan ng adapter.
Ito. Anong inner tube mo? Presta or ano?
Mabaliktad dyan.
Presta. Sa'yo, sir. Diba? Hindi, ito yung inner tube mo. Presta ba siya? Kasi pag presta po, ganito siya kaliit. Oo, ganito. Ganito mismo? Hindi. Hindi. Pero yung pump mo ganito. Paano mo siya hinahanginan?
Vulcanize.
Hindi. Alam mo na ba yung sekreto na ito?
Punta ako sa Shell.
Kaya sa mga hindi ko nakakaalam, ito po ay 2-in-1 na po ito.
Biruway mo nga.
2-in-1 po ito ah. Pwede sa maliit, pwede sa malaki. Ang gagawin nyo lang po is tatanggalin nyo lang po itong
Shredder.
tatanggalin nyo lang yan.
Tawa-tawa siya pero...
Tapos, itatakpak nyo siya ng ganito.
Yan, tinaktak ko.
Yan. Ilabas po siya, diba, na maliit. Uhugutin niya yan. Tapos babalik ka rin nyo lang.
Oha? Oha? Ganun yan eh.
Oha, kuha mo na. Yan na.
Kung wala kayong adapter. Pero kung may adapter naman, lupit na.
Mas may ba yan, sir, pag may eyeliner? Pag may eyeliner rin gano'n, mas umanda.
Pag may?
Eyeliner, katulad sa kanya.
Nangyay ba?
Hindi naka-narinig na iba.
Ano daw? Ayan. Babalik ka natin. Igagawin siya pagbalik niya na. Pag ganyan. Yan.
Parang naipit ng zipper. Yung balat.
Mas malakas pa ron.
Hindi, babalik natin kasi, kailangan.
May magtatanggal.
Kasi may magtatanggal na ito. Para po matuto kayo.
Tama yun, tama yun.
Pag hindi natanggal, tanggal sa grupo.
Tama. Pag hindi natanggal, si Sanelli. Hindi ba kauwi?
Nagpa-press tayo dyan, di ba?
Yung preno.
May kapodge.
Kasi tayo, sanay tayo na hindi natanggal.
Ang gagawin po natin, i-adjust po natin yung caliper. Iaangat lang natin siya ng konti na makapag-pre-wheel to. Kasi pag hindi po ito pag hindi po natin ito binigyan ng pansin, yung tuhod po natin yung maaapektuhan na ito. Kasi mabigat po siya ipadyak, lalo na po sa mga ahon, sa mga apil, pigil-pigil. Kahit na maiksi po yung ahon natin, mararamdaman nyo po yung bigat. Kasi nga po, pigil na pigil po yung, katulad na ito, ang hirap na.
Kasi naka-press.
May nagbe-break.
Naka-preno ba? Yun.
Ayan, it's a prank!
Pigil na pigil yan. So ang gagawin po natin, pag ganito po yung kaso, ito po, i-adjust po natin itong caliper. Paano sa'yo?
Yung dalawa, luluwagan.
Yung dalawa lang po yung magkaano dyan, yung gagalawin natin, ito. Itong dalawa lang.
Dalawang taas lang.
Luluwagan lang yan.
Duluwagan lang po natin. Ito. Pero bago po natin galawin to, silipin natin dito sa gilid. Dito silipin natin. Kung dito yung nasabit, ito yung gagalawin natin. Pero kung nasa taas yung nasabit, ito po yung gagalawin natin.
Ay, hindi to.
Ito po, ito.
Kasi dalawa yan eh. Sider, sumasabit na. Ito, bengkong to, 8 to. Or may problema tong hindi siya align.
Hindi siya align.
Yung mga ganito kasi klase na hindi sa meron talagang hindi, alam mo yung mga factory defect.
Ganito.
Hindi pulido yung pagkakagawa.
Hindi po ulit pagkakagawa. Katulad po na ito, masyado siyang dikit. So ang gagawin natin is,
Sana makuha sa adjust.
panta na makuha natin sa adjust to.
Adjust wala.
Pwede pa yun, sir, 7 days replacement.
Bayad na ba natin?
Bayad na ba ito lahat?
Baka
Naka-home credit ba to? Ayan, so bakit kinalos ko siya parehas? Kasi po, masikip po talaga siya.
Balik yan, 7 days.
Masikip siya eh.
Sabay tingin sa brake eh.
Oo, baka pinindot nyo naman po yung brake ha.
Hoy, huwag nga kayo nung dyan.
Ayan, so ito yung kailangan natin, galawin. Ito.
Yung kasi pagkagamit kayo nito yung baon na. Huwag naka-slant kasi bibilugin niya tong ano.
Oo, kailangan nakabaon talaga siya.
Kailangan baon na din.
Tapos tipis rin yung brake para gawin siya. Habang nakaposen, saka nyo siya.
Hindi,
Pisilin nyo nga break, nga. Pisilin nyo nga break.
Oo, yun. At saka pag hindi ko maka.
Ayun no.
Ayan, ano pa rin. Mag-press yan dito. Magka ng konti.
Kasi wala ko karyata.
Bengkong yung rotor niya, tingin ko. Bengkong yung rotor niya. Tingnan niyo po
One eternity later.
Ayun na nga, tapos na yung mga seminars. So tingin ko, salamat sa papanood. Kung hindi ka pa nakasubscribe, please subscribe. Consider subscribing, like, and share. Shout out! Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Tagumpay naman kami. Tagumpay tayo lahat.
Alright.
Maganda yung resulta.
Alright. Ayun, Sir Conde. Shout out sa City Loopers and kita-kita tayo ulit sa susunod.